All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here. And today we're going to be going through what to do with content and how to use that to stay top of mind with your sphere of influence. So this is something that we go over periodically, but it's so important that I think it does warrant time today. So this should be a very, very good presentation. And before we get into today's presentation, we're going to invite Cameron Alley from Clearview Mortgage on the line. Good morning, Cameron.
Good morning, Kevin. How's it going?
Very well. I've already got you promoted to panelist. I'm ahead of the game today, right?
All right. It says host disabled participant from screen sharing. I'm trying to share my screen.
Oh, I'm still messed it up somehow.
No, you're good. Hey, we're a few seconds ahead of where we usually are, right?
There you go. Yeah, and Bill Seitz, our corporate broker, will not be joining us this morning. He's got another engagement, so it'll just be Cameron and I today.
All right, so you can see my screen, right, Kevin?
Looks good.
All right, wonderful. So got a quick little mortgage update for you today, as always. Obviously, right now, this is the 10-year treasury. We're sitting at 3.777, so still quite a bit below that 4% threshold that we were at last week. And just as a side note, before we got into this current market of, basically the most tight monetary policy we've ever had, the record for rate movements in one day is 15 basis points, right? We've seen that since in the last 2 months. We've seen a 15 basis point change in the daily bond yields, probably almost 15 times. So it's pretty crazy to look at the market volatility, and basically what that tells you is that rates are going up and down a lot every day. Like, for example, last Wednesday we were sitting at 7%. Now we're at about 6.5%, which a half of a point on a rate reduction is a huge difference over a small period of time. And yesterday we were at almost 6%. So basically, that once again goes to the importance of making sure that you're up to date on your pre-approvals, and that you're working with somebody who really is watching the market and able to lock in your clients at the best possible rate. Because from 6% to 7%, that's a big difference, right? And someone might not be able to qualify if you wait, for the wrong time to lock. So just something to watch. Basically, is bond volatility is obviously at an all-time high. Today, we're 16 basis points higher than we were yesterday, which, like I said previously, 15 basis points was the record. So we're kind of all over the place, but just good for you guys to know. And then the Dow did go slightly above 30,000. I think it was yesterday. But we're still, well below that $37,000 mark that we were at the high a few months ago. And then I did want to go over this UBS survey. So UBS, what they do is they basically do a bunch of different financial surveys all over the United States, and they do all different demographics, right? They don't necessarily look at one income threshold. They don't look at really anything. They just do it over participants. But this is really incredible data that they just released. It's their housing intention consumer survey is what they call. And this survey is one of the longest standing housing surveys out there. But these are the numbers that came out of the survey. It was about 2,000 participants. And what it said is 44% of respondents plan to buy a residential property over the next 12 months. 42% of respondents plan to sell their current residence in the next 12 months. 70% of respondents believed owning a home was still a great investment, which obviously we know, but 70%, that's a big number. And 78% believe finding an affordable home in the next 12 months would be somewhat easy. So this survey basically set a shockwave throughout Wall Street and through basically a lot of different places, saying, wow, it's crazy how high demand still is and how high consumer confidence is. Because basically all the data that we've been looking at is just like how I've been talking about every week, how demand is so high. This basically kind of showed you that this is still the case, that people are still up, people still want to do transactions. It's just hopefully the Fed can get their stuff figured out so that we can stop having this volatility. Because even if rates are high, but rates just calm down and stay where they're at, you're going to see huge uptick in real estate transactions. So really, really mind-blowing survey. And I just wanted to share that with you. And what basically in this, they do have a video here. You guys can go watch it if you want. But what they said was kind of fueling it was first-time home buyers, and they talked about last week that new build data that I told you guys about last week. They talked about that specifically, saying, hey, like this is basically showing that first-time home buyers are still in a relatively good position, and that the rates aren't necessarily going to scare them away. It's the volatility that kind of scares them away, because once again, you have those issues with people not locking, and maybe someone gets a loan estimate that's way higher than what they talked about because they weren't communicating with their loan officer. So, but lots of positive things out there, even though, you know, there tends to be bad news. If you look, you got to kind of find the things that really tell you how consumers are feeling. But with the largest monthly decline in home value since 2009, last month there's obviously a lot of optimism, and I think that it's definitely going to start picking up. So, and then I also wanted to talk about this job report. The job reports have been surprisingly pretty good. A lot of what's pushing this is obviously a lot of people getting second jobs due to inflation. But the reason why I wanted to show you this is because if we can control inflation, what's going to end up happening is we're actually going to have some bad job reports, but the job reports aren't necessarily going to be bad. It's just a lot of people are hopefully going to have to not have these second jobs. But what bad job reports do is they bring down bonds. So once again, it's going to soften rates. So hopefully inflation, we can grab a hold of that. We can bring that down, make it normalized again, get some of these people not needing second jobs, and then that is going to bring down rates itself without the Fed even doing anything. And then let's see here, what else we got. So also too, one of the things that is going on is obviously how I talk about every week, how the Fed and the rates are kind of controlling the market. So basically, Wall Street came out with this report kind of saying, hey, basically calling out the Fed and asking them to loosen the monetary policy. Right now is by far the tightest monetary policy we've ever had. And by monetary policy, I basically mean the cost of money and how quickly it's changed. Global currencies are going down quite a bit, which obviously the Fed doesn't like. So once again, they're kind of put to the fire there. Consumers in the US as of right now are still spending, but with everything, it takes about 2 quarters to get a correction, right? So eventually those retail reports are going to come in a lot lower than they are right now, probably this quarter or the next quarter. And that once again is going to bring down bonds. Capital spending is beginning to slow, which is another thing that could bring down bonds, and car sales are actually starting to slow a lot too. So another one of those things that bring down bonds. So basically what I'm saying with all this data is that there's a lot of positive things happening, and we're basically set up to have, you know, a really good spring and summer next year if everything keeps going on this original pace. So but this is definitely the most incredible data that I've seen in a while, and it's kind of right up the alley of what we've been talking about demand and how it's still very, very high. And then one last thing, I did want to go over our analytics last month for Clearview Mortgage. This is UWM, which is the lender that we use for, you know, most A-paper transactions. Once again, our submission to clear to close was only 10 days with this lender. So that is getting them in and getting them out on, and obviously 73% was purchases. So of those 73% of purchases, we get it, we submit it, we close it, clear to close 10 days. So that's pretty incredible. Just wanted to share that with you guys so that you know that we're just not telling you that, but not proving it. And then last but not least, I did want to show you this more detailed flyer that I created for the 2110 temporary buy down. This is basically something that you could give that's not just a question asker and more of a question answerer. So it shows you the numbers basically for any buyers or sellers that might be interested in using it. It shows you what the potential savings would be on this specific scenario. And it's really useful, has a lot more details than the other flyers. So I'll make sure that Kevin sends that out to you. But that is pretty much all I have today, and I will let Kevin do his thing.
All right, perfect, bud. Yeah, definitely send that thing over to me, and I will make sure that we get that out on the replay. and make sure everybody knows about that, because that is an incredible program. I know we've been talking a lot about it, but if you have questions about it, definitely reach out to Cameron, because it is a very powerful thing.
Yeah, and I think this flyer will even help you guys understand it too, because the other ones just weren't detailed enough, and I had to create this one and make sure that all the legal mumbo jumbo was correct, because that's really important, obviously. But I got it cleared. We're good to go. So I'll get that to Kevin, and hopefully it'll help answer any questions that you or your clients have.
Perfect. I appreciate it as usual.
Not a problem. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.
And of course, on your screen, you can see how to get a hold of Cameron. Here's his phone number. Here's his email address. So easy deal there. Also want to remind everybody to reach out to Raquel Bauer with Legacy Escrow. A lot of agents are taking advantage of that, which is awesome. And so don't hesitate to reach out to her with any questions, rate sheets, whatever you need from her. She is available. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to hop into today's presentation. So first of all, I'm going to show you guys exactly where we can get our information. So as most of you know, and I know we have a lot of new agents on the line, we do come out with content that you guys can share with your clients and with your sphere of influence every month. So these are the different blog posts and or content pieces for newsletters that we have come out with over the last many years. So you can see all those. The most recent is always in the upper left corner here. And so the way that you find our news and insider tips, which is kind of our blog, right? We talk about, maybe not calling our blog a blog, because some people don't really get it. So our blog, quote unquote blog, we call our news and insider tips. And the way that you get there is by putting your cursor over about, and of course, going to arghome.net, our corporate site, and putting your cursor over about and going down to news and insider tips. So this is where you can always get this information. Of course, we do email this directly to you every month as well, but it's easy enough to go ahead and click on this. And so this is where you're able to basically copy all of this information into your systems, into your monthly newsletter, and into your blog, so you can share this with your clients. And so why do we do this? The main reason that we do this is to stay top of mind. So you need to have a reason to contact, and even to just email something to your sphere of influence. You've got to have some kind of a purpose to do this. And having meaningful content and a very well-written article is a great talking point, and it's a great excuse to reach out to people on your list and to make sure that they receive this. So we're doing that to make sure that they know that we exist. So we talk about it all the time. A secret agent gets no deals. You do not want to be a secret agent. You want to be an agent that broadcasts to the world that you're an agent, and then that you do business. So this is an important reason to contact people and to make sure that they know that you are a realtor. It's literally as simple as that. So staying top of mind and reminding people in your sphere of influence that you're still out there doing real estate is a super huge step. So we all know the horror stories of selling somebody a home, and then 3, 4, or 5 years later, that person goes and sells that home that you sold them to. You sold that home to them, and they use another realtor in their next transaction. So worst thing that can possibly happen. So you need to be the person that is constantly in contact with that person, not in an obnoxious way, but in a assertive and polite way. And so the really good way to do that is to utilize these newsletters and these blog posts. So let me share another graphic with you guys. One sec. So the schedule of activities, if you will, that I'd like everybody to utilize is, first, you grab this information from arghome.net. you create the post, you review the blog post, you post that blog and or monthly newsletter to your website. And we'll go over that in 1 second. So that's step one. Step two is you can also customize that blog post slightly and make it your own. You could maybe put in some relevant local market information, or maybe you could put in, some stuff that's very relevant to your sphere of influence. So you can kind of customize this blog post and this blog information as well. So let's go through that specifically. So I'm going to use one of our newer agents, Elena, and I'm going to make sure that we update all of her information right now. So step one is we're going to create the blog. All right, so the blog, we go into personal, we go to blogging, and we're going to create a new blog for her. So we click on add new, and now we're going to go back over to the agent, or I'm sorry, to our news and tips and insider tips at ARG. And I'm literally just going to copy and paste these things. Super easy. Takes you less than 5 minutes to create this blog. Now we go down, copy all of the text. Right click, copy, go back to our blog, and paste it. And then I always like to just make sure that the formatting pasted well, usually pastes perfect. So that all looks great. Now we can come down here. We always do have the ability to select a image for this. And so I will upload an image. And the way that you get this image is you can basically copy and paste the image. But I happen to have it in a file here, so I'll just use that. All right, so now we can paste that image file here, and we could even give it a little category, and let's publish it, and we'll save it. So that's how quick it takes to create a blog post. Now it looks beautiful. You can email this to someone, but a better idea is to step two, let's create a monthly newsletter. So to do that, of course, we go into leads, we go into email drip, we go to monthly letters, and we go to add new, and we do the same thing. So we go back over to the blog post on the ARG site. This is all highlighted, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. Bring it back over to our blog post our monthly newsletter area. And so in the monthly newsletters, I suggest just putting this in the email message body. You can also do a personal message up above. It's not necessary though. So let's go back over here, grab our copy and paste our title, our subject. And now what we do with the monthly newsletters is we're able to set a date range. So let's make sure that this goes out starting tomorrow, and it's going to go out through the end of the month if we add people to our CRM system. So we want to make sure that if we meet somebody next week and we get their information and we put them into our CRM, we want them to also get this monthly newsletter, right? So we're going to go ahead and save this. And we can delete this one. So this system is only the monthly newsletter system is only designed to have one email go out. So if you're going to be doing other emails, we use our campaigns. So the campaigns is where we can create a new campaign and we can put out different information to specific groups within our database. But for the monthly newsletters, we just want to do one a month. That's what the system is designed for. So one more thing, we're going to want to make sure that we upload. This is kind of, if you don't upload a specific image, the agent marketing system will assign kind of this little monthly image. It looks like, some fall style image, but we do have that nice image that we are able to grab. So let's just go ahead and use that. So much better. Let's save it. And now let's take a look at it. So now our October newsletter, and this is exactly what our, the people in our database will receive via email. And so it looks very nice, right? So, that's step 1 and 2, right? Let me bring up my graphic again. So step 1 and 2 is basically, get that into the newsletter, get that into the blog. So, and then really before you do that, this is a really important thing. Before you put out your monthly newsletter, update your database. Take the time to go into your database and to add anybody new, update any information that you may have, learned that you had a wrong email for somebody. You may learn that you had a wrong, any kind of information that you want to update. So you want to take the time once a month to make sure that you're updating your database. Then you want to go ahead and send all those people the email. And of course, that happens by putting out the monthly newsletter. So that monthly newsletter will then go out to everybody. So a really good idea is to follow up, right? So you want to follow up with specific people in your database. You don't have to follow up with every single person in your database, but you want to segment your database so you're at least following up with some kind of a direct communication, meaning a text message or a phone call in most cases. And that way you are getting that personal connection to a lot of people within your database. And you may not talk to that person, you may not even get a response back, but you reached out, you are proactive, you're not being a bother, but you're staying top of mind. And so that's why this utilizes the system of having content and using it as the excuse to call people really does work, because it does keep you top of mind. You are providing information that is relevant. You're not being, just some kind of a pest, right? And the people within your sphere of influence and your clients, they appreciate that. And so you're providing value. So another thing that you can do, besides just, reaching out and hey, did you see my my information, is you can also, and I do have a template. Let me show you guys a template of some talking points. All right. So here's just a quick phone script. Let me just blow this up a little bit. Phone script. Hi, this is Kevin from Alta Realty Group. How are you? Person says, great. That's great to hear. I also wanted to follow up on an email I recently sent you with a link to my blog post on buying home versus renting. Right? Did you happen to see it? So literally, I've got a little script for you. If you're not good at this stuff and you don't know what to say, this is a super easy thing. And then the same thing, this is also a direct message, instant message / text script, right? So you can just send somebody this little text, and that's a follow-up. So like I said, you don't have to do this for every single person in your database, but select a segment of your database to make that direct follow-up. And that is another touch. So they might get the email, they might get the text message from you, and they might get a phone call or a voicemail. And then another thing, the next step is, of course, post this stuff to social media. So take this information, take the link that you created, because we did create a link to our blog, and we can post that to social media. And we can also reference it. So you might have somebody see your social media post. They might also get the text message. They might also get that phone call. So these are the different touches that we always talk about. And so having that multiplier of different touches and having a reason to follow up with people is really the catalyst for getting more business, right? So another thing that you can do, and you can get really creative with this, an optional thing to do is to, do a quick video of yourself talking about what is in the blog post. And you can, literally a 15-second video. Hey guys, just wanted to let you know, I just came out with another, content piece. You can find it here. And, I encourage you to call me with questions. It could be a 10-second video. And you're referencing your content. You're really tying everything together, right? You're creating this kind of loop. So doing that is a really, really good way to solidify this entire effort. So following up, great, super easy. And then, you can for sure contact these people and reference other bits of content, other blog posts that you've written. Some of these are what I consider evergreen content, which means there's not really a time sensitive aspect to the blog post or to the content. So you can really, utilize especially once you've been doing this for a long time, you've got a database of interesting content to reference to people. Oh, did you enjoy that? And as you're speaking with that client or, texting back and forth with them, you might realize, oh, they might be interested in this, or they might have a question about this. And you might answer that question and say, hey, you might also, be interested in this piece of content. And then you send them a link to that one. So a lot of really cool ways to stay top of mind with your sphere of influence. That's the name of the game. So I'm going to make sure that I have this schedule of events and activities available for everybody when I send out the replay, because I really want everybody to do this, especially if your business is slowing down. It's time to really act and to make sure that we're not leaving any stone unturned, and we're getting access to all the business that we can. So if you have questions, of course, reach out to me. Cameron, are you still with us, buddy? No. Okay. So of course, any questions for Cameron, don't hesitate to call him and the entire team here, Raquel Bauer at Legacy Escrow. So we are here for you guys. If you have questions for me, 949-285-7209. And I want everybody to get out there and make it a great day and a great week. And we will see you guys next week on the webinar. Have a great day.